Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I'm Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about The Gifted, Season 1, Episode 6. It's called Got Your Six. They even have the number of the episode in the title this time, never mind the X. So, very good.
Yeah, they got away with it.
Very, very good writers. Very, very witty. Not that I don't enjoy a good pun, because I do. Connor knows this. He knows
Yeah,
this
you,
well.
you enjoy them too much.
So, so full spoilers for the episode. I don't know if I said that already, but full spoilers for the episode as usual. This was it was following up on stuff from last time where it was like, okay, so we need to figure out how Pulse, so what they're doing to these other mutants they're working for, their mind control or whatever it is, reconditioning. You know, I think I speculated Clockwork Orange style things for like years since the flashback was 2 years ago. So the main plot of this one is Eclipse, along with John and Andy, of all people, go to steal some information at this building. And they go and do that. Why are you looking at me funny?
You said John.
Did I?
Yeah,
Oh,
Eclipse along with John and Andy.
I meant Reed. John's Thunderbird. Yeah, I'm confusing myself.
That's what I was like, who's John?
Yeah, no, Reed. I meant Reed. So Reed and Andy go along with Eclipse to go steal stuff. And then meanwhile, Kate is not particularly happy that her daughter and the other kids are being trained for combat. So that kind of goes on. And we do start off again with our flashback, which does seem to be the thing now. We're having a flashback every episode.
Yeah.
And we start with, and this was Johnny, with his buddy Pulse after the July 15th thing, but not. It's still 4 years ago, so it was still kind of like things weren't quite as bad yet. It's basically just them trying to like fundraise to help victims of that day, and they get basically hate crimes are committed against them. Someone throws a smoke bomb at them, or not a smoke bomb, a pipe bomb is what I meant to say. And Johnny like grabs it and just quickly is like, okay, where's the no people? Oh, there looks good, and throws it.
Do you know what? He throws it at the car. It's like, okay, no, that was smart. Get out of the way. I was convinced it was going to cut to there was someone actually in the car that he couldn't see from over there.
Yeah, I kind of thought that. I also actually what I thought it was going to do, because he has super strength. Because you see him like bend,
Just shield it into himself.
Not shield him into itself. I thought he was going to throw it in the air, like just throw it as high as he could, so it'd be, really high up when it blows up. Because we've seen him like bend things and like break down doors and walls and stuff. So I thought maybe you could probably throw that.
What happens if you just snap it in half? Yeah.
I don't know how a pipe bomb works.
I don't either.
Work.
This is why I'm not going to call it out on it. I'm just speculating. Would that not help?
I imagine half of it would still go. It'd be a smaller explosion, would be my guess, but there would still be something.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I'm genuinely curious now.
Well, most people can't just snap them in half, but he potentially could.
Yeah, that's why I'm questioning. But I've never had to question it before.
He's never been in this situation before, I don't think. He's maybe just not thinking on his feet like that. It's like, oh, pipe bomb, I get it.
I get it.
I get it. Yeah, he's in a bit of a,
like I said, I'm not criticizing. I'm just questioning.
No, it's a fair question. But my guess would be half of it would still blow up. The other half would just be disconnected and therefore not contribute to the explosion. But I don't know how to make a pipe bomb, so that's take that for what it's worth, and it's not worth much. So I have to say I wasn't super keen in most of this episode.
I think I like ideas and I like parts, but a lot of it kind of comes off as I don't want to say boring, but tedious.
Tedious is a good word. I think it's a case of we have to technically go through some of these steps, but going through them is not particularly exciting or even
so when
interesting.
Half of it deals with Andy in a bigger role than the last few episodes.
Yeah,
that doesn't help.
Andy was pretty bad. It doesn't help that a potentially really dramatic moment I laughed instead of cared.
Which one?
So Reed's wanting to reconnect with Andy, and Andy wants to come and say, hey, I can help you get in the wall, because Blink pisses off. Blink, we'll talk about that in a minute, but Blink's not there, so she can't just get them inside. So Andy's like, oh, I can break down a wall, I'm useful, yeah, take me. And Kate's not very happy, but Reed's already like, yeah, you come, son, yes, we'll go break into a federal building together, yeah, father-son bonding time. And they go, and while they're on their way, they're hiding in like a big sort of moving van truck, and they're in the back, and they have to stop at one point because a cop sort of pulls them over. It turns out Eclipse can actually absorb light, to an extent as well, because he was kind of making the back of the truck look it was just
Yeah, he says he absorbs it before he expels it. I assume that it's just, generally speaking, it's just like, light from the sun and stuff that, just not that you'd notice it, just, like a solar panel
yeah.
would be like, that's like the base level setting.
Kind of, well, because the cop shines the flashlight around and he can't see anything. It was kind of like the back of the truck's just in like a pit of darkness. So it was almost like anything that goes past that point near him, it was just being absorbed and you couldn't see anything. So
Yeah, I think he can turn it up.
Yeah.
Because he says, "Oh, before I do it, I always absorb light." So I assumed he's kind of like just like a solar panel
yeah,
as a base set.
I imagine this has limits though. Like if he's outside, like like in broad daylight, like is it just like a circle of darkness around him if he does this? Probably not, because there's infinite light to take in.
Exactly.
Yeah, but okay, whatever. So they have to stop at one point, and Reed tries to have this heart-to-heart with them, and it was just going okay. He's asking him questions. Does it hurt when you use your powers? And he's describing it. Oh, it's like yelling, but it feels good when I can do it, and it's going all well. And I think there's meant to be a really dramatic moment here, but made me laugh out loud. Is Andy says it feels good when I rip something apart, and then Reed's face just goes like. And I just started laughing because he's like, oh no, my son's a terrorist. Oh no, he's gonna like destroy things and hurt people's lives and all sorts.
Yeah.
And then Andy immediately just goes, oh, forget it, just forget it. It's like, no, I understand. Oh, forget it, Dad. Oh, and it turns into Andy and his bad acting, and it was just, it was making me laugh so much.
That's most of this. When he's convincing them that he should go because he's like, oh no, but we're kids, so we need to, we'll be in trouble too. And it's like, I get your point. What you're saying makes sense, but coming out of you're just making it worse.
Honestly, the worst moment I had with them this episode is it's when they've already stole the stuff and they're on their way back, and everyone else is doing a plan to get them out of harm's way and get them away from the police and the Sentinel services, and they're inside the truck, and like so Polaris has told them, over the radio or whatever, she said, hey, look, we're going to sort it out here. You guys just keep driving forward no matter what. We've got it covered, right? It's like, no, we're going to use everyone else to get you out of this. And Andy just like, no, but I can help. I can be useful. Let me help. And he's just a little whingy bitch. And
it's like, this is why I like Reed. He's like, you already helped. Shut up.
It does. You already proved you're useful. It's fine. The other people are dealing with this.
You've got all your angst out of the way for this episode. Just stop it. It's just, I
actually really like he says, look, hey, now you need to be part of a team. It's not just about you and proving that you're worth something. It's a team thing, so, deal with it. So, I actually like Reed's side of it for the most part. It's just Andy sucks every part of life out of it.
No, I agree. I think Reed's stuff's really good. It helps that he's a good actor, so, he can pull these things off. And, I think he's an even better actor than I give him credit for, that he can still make his stuff seem good opposite that.
I wonder, how awkward is this on set? Like, is it obvious when you're actually doing the scene that this actor opposite you is really terrible, and you have to just keep giving it your all anyway?
It has to be. It can't. Oh man, I don't know.
Because sometimes the way they cut and the way they edit things, like, you buy that maybe on set it wasn't as apparent that it wasn't working quite as well. But this kid's just awful all the time, so I can't imagine that it's not clear on set. But obviously at that point there's nothing they can do because he's been cast. The other actors don't have a say in it.
No, exactly.
That's just a fault on the...
He's just like, well, I've just got to suck this up so I can get paid.
Pretty much. Andy's the worst. He really is. They steal hard drives and files and stuff, try to figure out. We don't really get to find out what any of it is yet. We see at the end, like, Johnny and Dreamer are just kind of sitting and reading it all and looking at it. So we'll get some of that next episode. I have no doubt. Just sticking with the family, we'll go over to Kate and Lauren. Kate. She's been proactive in a way that she's like, okay, we've got a lot of kids here. They still have to technically be educated and schooled. Let's start setting something up for that to happen, even if it's not like an official. It's not like the government in the city is going to recognise that they've been educated, but they still need to be educated. So she's looking for books and stuff, and we get this little sad story about they have so many random school books because the mutant kids often get grabbed when they're coming out of school. And it's like, oh. That's pretty dark.
So they can get them all at once. They just get the bus and go, right, you 6 with us.
It's the equivalent of Oh, you know, when you're fishing with a net instead of just going for the one. That's what it felt like. It was
Yeah,
just,
yeah. Net versus the hook.
yeah, that was basically all it was. But she gets pretty pissed off at Polaris because Polaris just wanted to train the kids in combat to use their powers better. Because she watches her train this girl who has water powers, and she's like, you know, fancying it around, and she smashes the vase when it comes back down. But she's like, all right, okay, you could be useful. Go down, and we'll start your training. And Kate's like, wait, what are you training them for? It's like, combat. Combat? They're children. How can you do this? And this plotline kind of bugged me because I felt like Kate was already on board with this. Like I mean, I get that she doesn't really want her kids get into like dangerous situations. I absolutely get that, but this just feels naive. Like, yeah, because in the line that really pissed me off specifically is when Polaris describes, oh, well, this is their life now. They're mutants. This is what's going to happen. They have to be ready for it. And Kate says, well, that's not what I want for my children. It doesn't matter what you want. It's the world's this
Yeah,
way.
you're not the mutant. And
But-
also, you said, oh yeah, she gets that they got to go on missions and stuff. It's like, well, yeah, but she already okayed her kids going on missions. Andy's already off on a mission at this point. I'm pretty sure.
No, not yet. It was
Not yet?
this was
Okay.
before, because I remember because when Reed agrees to it and then he turns around and sees her, I was like, oh, she's gonna be
Okay.
pissed.
He's off on it in the next scene though, right? In the training sequence.
Oh yeah. By the time we
Yeah,
get there, he's off.
Right.
Yeah.
So she's already okayed that, and we've okayed it in the last couple of episodes, a couple of different missions. And it's like, okay, no, they're useful, they can help.
It was okay when it was saving their father. That was when it was okay.
Right. And I feel like it was really hypocritical of her because she'd kind of gone, no, we're going to stay and help, and we're going to be part of this, and that's kind of been a thing. It's more than just saving him.
And to be fair, she is being their doctor and she is trying to get their education going. So she is helping in a lot of useful ways, just not.
Right, but it seems
Yeah.
really weird to not do both. It's not one or the other. Polaris doesn't say, well, don't educate them, but it's like, well, she's saying, but we can train them in this too.
Basically, she's not given. She's still holding on to this idea that this will all be dealt with in a couple of years and our kids can have normal lives. When it's like, no, this is going to take decades if we're going to get anywhere.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know. We have the actual training moment, that sequence where she's doing the little class and it's like throwing hammers and saws at them, and she comes in and basically pulls her kid out of school. I'm like, yeah, that's gonna make things better.
And don't get me wrong, I get the moment itself when she's like, "Hey, you're throwing a saw blade at my daughter." I'm not sure I'm okay with that. Maybe try with something that's safer in case she doesn't successfully block it.
Right,
Perhaps.
Right. But then
There's an
Lauren's
argument.
no, there's an argument for that. But Lauren's like, no, I agree to this. I want to do this, and but she doesn't really stick up for herself there. She's like, fine, and just storms off.
Yeah, like that's the thing. Like, it comes from a place of logic. I get that I think that she should always be hesitant. Like, whenever Andy or Lauren are going off on a mission of some kind, like, she should always look concerned about it. She should never just feel okay about it. Absolutely, she never will, because she's
No,
hell.
that's fine. So I get her being concerned. Like, I'm not comfortable. I don't want you going on these missions, but I understand you have to. And I feel like the same applies to this or should apply to this training, but it never reaches that point.
Yeah, I mean, parents worry. I mean, obviously they worry if you've got a dangerous job. If you're a police officer, if you're in the army or whatever, obviously they worry. But even for normal things, they worry. It's what parents do. So it would feel unnatural if she didn't show some concern. But this stepping in front and saying, "Oh no, this is awful. Why are you doing this to my kid?" No, Lauren, you're not doing this. No. This is too
And
dangerous.
I feel like it really undermines Polaris as well, as her role as teaching these kids. Because she's supposed to be, she's kind of the authority figure for them at this point, and it really undermines her position.
Yeah, I think she didn't come off that great. I mean, she has a good presence in this episode, but I think she doesn't really put up much of a fight, which is kind of weird. And when she does talk to her, she never really even tries to explain it in a way that's not confrontational. She's always kind of like, "Well, you're being naive and I'm right," and I'm like, "Okay, she has been naive and you are right, but." You have to approach it.
I get it.
Yeah.
She's a bit blunt, but I think that's part of her character.
Yeah.
So there's something for her to work on as well.
Sure. So, yeah, and then the other stuff with Lauren is we've got this love interest fellow, who
Just seems really clingy.
he's really clingy. He comes out of kind of nowhere and just starts talking to her, and he's got this mirage power. I didn't know his name during the episode, and I was like, I bet his name's Mirage. I bet that's his mutant name, just based on his power. His actual name, according to IMDb, is Wes, which I assume is short for Wesley. Kind of like Wesley Wyndham Price from the hit television show Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
We done?
You knew it was coming. You knew it was coming. Actually, I'm kind of pissed because I knew there was a really dumb joke I made like early last week, and I said I was going to do it again in the news when it came up.
You did,
and
didn't ya?
and I've completely forgotten what that joke was, and I definitely didn't do it again. I'm upset with myself.
Yeah, I remember the joke. I don't remember what the joke was. I remember you telling it.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
so you've had a state of execution from that, so now you're not escaping the Buffy reference on this
Just
video.
be glad, audience. It was awful.
It was fantastic. You missed out. You missed out on a winner. So he's very clingy. He's also it's kind of this thing where they introduce this extra character who's very good looking. Of course he is. Even though they're in like this runaway camp, everyone's ridiculously attractive, and he comes over and he tries to like flirt, and she's just like, oh no, I'm busy, and she kind of
I think it doesn't help that it makes him immediately unlikable
it
because
does, yeah.
she's there going, right, I'm going to help these refugees because that's what's going on, and she's clearing space and going through all these things. It's like, and he comes up the first time, she goes, no, sorry, look, I've got all this stuff to do. These people actually need my help,
Yeah,
and he just waves his hand and goes, nah, don't worry about that.
And it's not even like, because at first I was like, oh, but when they revealed it was a mirage, I was even more pissed at him because I'm like, it's not even that you actually solved the problem, because I thought at first maybe a time travel or something like that. Like, see, it's nighttime now, everything's fine. But it was like, no, you were just covering it up, and the work's still there to be done.
Yeah.
Like, the thing to make him likeable, potentially, it would have been for him to say, oh, well, let me help you. What else needs done? I'll help. Like, that makes him likeable, makes him useful.
Yeah, no, and then I get it if then she talks to him, but
Yeah.
it just seemed weird.
But then later on, he shows up again when she's feeling a little bit pissed, and she's like off in some random, derelict room, and he comes in, and they start having this heart to heart, and she brings up that she wanted to go to Florence, and he like does a mirage.
Even before that though, she's like, oh, come sit with me, let's have a chat, and she's like, no, I said I'm gonna go get back to my mum, so I'm gonna go do that, and he's like, come on, sit with me.
Do you know what the thing is though? This is it's a really sped up version of the Mon-El Supergirl relationship from season 2, where he just keeps pestering her, and she doesn't like fully give in this episode, but by the end of this scene, she walks away smiling like, oh, maybe I kind of like him now.
Yeah, at least he does something nice in this scene, like after that. But it
does,
it's
and
still really weird how it leads to it.
I do appreciate that. I was kind of calling, or at least, so he makes it appear. He makes Florence appear, and he's like, "Hey, isn't it pretty?" And they're looking at as if they're sitting in Florence, and I just sort of went, "Is this actually Florence?" Because like, if he has to know what he's creating, like, is this just like a generic looking city that could be Florence? And
you can tell immediately it's not.
But then then she's like, wait a minute, isn't this
Rome, yeah.
Rome? And I'm like, okay, I'm glad they did that joke, because I was thinking about it, like, can he just, like, even if he's never seen a place, like, can he just, fart it out?
No. I mean, I thought it was, but I was just glad they said it because I was like, no, this is Rome. It was like really clear. I was like, why is no one saying anything? Do they actually think this is Florence?
No, but to be fair, they don't. He just admits, I have no idea what Florence looks like. I saw this in an ad, and that's okay, fine. That was a fine little joke to tack on to that, because it was whatever. But yeah, and yeah. So far, I don't really like him. He's just kind of like as one.
I think his best moment is the ending. When he's actually out in the field.
That's because the moment with the power's cool. But in terms of him as a character, really, all he is right now, in terms of characteristics, is that he has the hots for Lauren, and that's it. That is his entire character.
Oh, it is. I'm just saying, at least at the end he was inventive with, he didn't just stick to the plan. He added his own extra twist to make it better.
Oh, sure. So yeah, it's when they're all coming back, and the Sentinel services are on their tail. They're coming for them. They've set up a roadblock, and I like this. This is easily the best part of the episode, because it gets inventive with everyone kind of combining their powers, where he's going to sort of mirage it so it looks like other trucks are going other ways, and like you say, the bit he adds on at the end is that there's a mirage behind the truck, constantly making it look like there's just empty road in front of them.
Yeah, so they only think there's the two.
Yeah.
So they're like, right, it's split. It's one of them, but they don't realize it's the third.
So that was fun. It was funny because Polaris turns around to Lauren and says, "Hey, see your shield thing? Is that strong enough to like support a truck?" Because they're going to like because at first I was like, why don't because I was questioning the plan at first, right? Because it's
you thought she was just going to lift the truck.
going towards the robot, I thought, Polaris, why don't you just lift the truck? Are you not strong enough to do that? Maybe she's not. Maybe they'll address that and say she's not actually that strong. But then, to be fair, once it started going down, she was busy deflecting all the bullets because they were shooting at this truck. And I'm like, okay, all right. So she's doing something that was actually kind of necessary. You know, the driver might have got shot had she not done that. And then it wasn't like a full bubble all over the whole roadblock. It was just a ramp.
A little ramp, yeah.
To make
Just,
them go out there.
which I think is a better plan, because you know, if Polaris just lifted them and moved them, they've lost all their momentum. Whereas, you know, here with the ramp, they go up, over, and then it keeps going. They don't have to stop and start again.
Yeah.
So, no, I'll give it to them.
There you go. So no, it was a fun little sequence in Venom Use of Powers, which, you know, is kind of in a lot of ways is probably the best part of the show so far. Is just kind of how they've been mixing and matching the powers and kind of putting them together. It was like, I think occasionally there's the issue of like, well, why didn't X person go on that mission, because it feels like they could be useful, kind of thing.
Yeah, and it feels like they had to. You know, we mentioned that they got rid of Blink at the start of the episode. It felt like, okay, by the end anyway, it felt like, all right, well, Blink was just gone so that they didn't have to just bring her along and have her move the truck like before.
To an extent, I have some more things to say about her leaving, but that's there. And it's like they say, oh, Thunderbird's near back at base, but I'm like, you know, couldn't he just punch through the wall that Andy was going to put a hole in anyway? Like, could he not just do
it
that?
didn't look like a very thick wall.
Yeah.
It's just a regular, you know, couple of bricks thick wall.
So, you know, you kind of like, okay, so why didn't this person go on the mission? Why did that person stay behind? I feel like as we get more characters and some of them have really useful powers, it's going to become
more
a thing.
Obvious, yeah.
Yeah.
I think the counter to that is have them have to run multiple missions at once.
Yeah.
So that, you know, right, you're on that group because that's the priority, but we still need people to do this thing over here, so, well, you're the next best option.
I did like Johnny just building a defense out of like giant cinder blocks. Who's just like lifting up these things that clearly need a crane or a forklift usually to get in place. Or at the very least, like 4 people or something like that to lift them, and he's just like, nah, one, there you go, slide it in. So no, little things like that, but so I do like, as much as I'm not feeling the whole Blink anger over the fake dream thing. We've not been into this plotline really since it started. I will kind of applaud that at least her getting pissed off enough and not trusting either of them to leave is actually probably the most realistic reaction that she could have had.
It is.
Because I think what we were really worried about was her sticking around and them constantly having debates and arguing about it every single episode. And I mean, that may still happen, but at least this, as a reaction to me, once it became clear and she confronted him about it, it was like, well, I don't trust you guys anymore, so I'm leaving.
No, I get it. I think I really liked it at the moment. Like I said, by the time I got to the end, I felt like it was because they didn't want her. They wanted an excuse not to have her for this, you know, end game of the episode. They wanted, you know, to show off some other characters, the powers. And I feel like, okay, she's just going to be back next episode, and if it is, I'll feel even more like it was just so that she wasn't there for this. It's the equivalent of, you know, like in a horror movie where they go, oh, the phones have no signal, so we can't phone for help. It's the equivalent of that.
Kind of, yeah. I can agree with that. Meanwhile, Jace is going back to work, even though everyone's telling him, no, you should stay home, you're not cleared for duty, you have went through a turmoil, and you should be home with your wife resting. And I have to admit, I'm a little disappointed at how kind of simple and quickly he glosses over the fact that he had to remember his daughter dying again. It was kind of like one line of dialogue.
I know, it was such a good idea, and you know, we mentioned last week that end scene was a bit rushed. I thought we were going to explore it properly, but we're getting bits of it. It's still affecting him clearly, but not in the way I was hoping.
It's motivation. It's why he calls back the doctor Campbell, because he turned him down originally, and now he's like, no, I'm going to like give him help and give him what he wants, because now he's even more motivated to hunt these people down, and that's fine as a motivation. But it was such a cool idea. It felt so. His partner basically just says, "Oh no, you should be home." He's like, "Don't you dare talk to me! I had to lose her twice," and then that's pretty much it. And they keep walking. Yeah,
we get things like, at the end where he's like, "Right, monitor the calls," and they're like, "What number?" And it's like, "All of them. I don't care." And he just snaps and shouts, like, "All right, I get it. You're not ready to be back. We see that you're not actually cleared. You cheated, and maybe you shouldn't have done." But it's just less interesting than it could have been.
Yeah, Campbell's sitting in the meeting. It seems like he's going to be, thinking he has access to everything now because he's helped get his job back and
Yeah.
all that kind of thing. And then it's like fine. It feels like they've kind of, at least for now, whiffed on that idea that we liked last episode, and it's kind of a shame. So hopefully they pick that back up in a more meaningful way down the line. But for now, it feels a little bit whiffed.
Yeah, I do think this was the weakest episode yet.
It might be. It might be. I wasn't really feeling a lot of it. Like I say, the power invent of this is still pretty cool, but most of the character stuff in this one kind of bugged me. It felt like it was either going over similar ground that we'd already covered before. It felt like some stuff was logically just not making a whole lot of sense to me. And then, we have this new character, chasing after Lauren, who's basically has no character whatsoever yet. He's just a blank slate with a smile.
Right, I think that's it. It's like, and the stuff with Reed and Andy was probably like the most relevant and things that should have been good, but it's ruined by the kids acting. So it's kind of annoying for that sense.
Yeah, and also just the repetition of it, because I feel like I've seen him have these similar outbursts multiple times now. It's at the point now where if he does turn evil soon, I'll be like, really, is any character in this show surprised? He has outbursts like every other 10 minutes. Like, how did no one see this coming, that he's an evil bastard? Come on now.
Yeah, even when when him and Lauren, they get to the place and they're like, oh, we got beds. She's like, oh, we got beds. We should go and help them. And he's like, I don't care.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, you're an awful person.
Yes, he's an awful little shit. But there you go. So that is The Gifted episode 6. Let us know what you think of it in the comments below. Like, subscribe, all that stuff. Get us on Twitter at mailed_fuzz for channel updates. If you want to support the channel, head over to patreon.com/mailedfuzztv. You can do that over there. But otherwise, that is us. So thank you once again for watching. Keep watching TV, guys. We'll see you next time. Have you got any vanilla?